Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FrostBytez Gaming Experience, part 24 of the Pokemon Blue walkthrough. Boy, have we got a doozy one for you folks today. 20-minute part, and before going to the as you can see today, I've been having a real tough time with just using basic words, obviously. But anyways, before we get to the Safari Zone, we are actually tackling the gym first, apparently. So, huzzah on that. We don't get to go to the Safari Zone and then take care of the gym. No. That'd be too easy. You know, that's not the way Frosty does things. First, he's going to take care of the gym first, which makes a little bit of sense. The Safari Zone is not an area where you can really grind up your Pokemon. So whatever level that I have my Pokemon at already would have been, you know, what they would be after the Safari Zone anyway. So I figured, let's go ahead and just take out the gym leader first. Apparently, again, recorded this months ago, do not remember anything. Interesting thing about this gym, though, is that you can get yourself the wrong perception of what this gym is. And the first time go through, it feels like this gym is a psychic gym. We just went against a Kadabra. Now we're going against a Drowsy. Well, Drowsy came out first, but then Kadabra, so it's like, oh, we're going against psychic types. Okay, but this isn't a psychic gym. This is a poison gym. Now, I know that Drowsy can learn the move, I believe it's Poison Gas, that does a little bit of damage, has a chance to poison you, but I don't understand why Kadabra is a part of it. Maybe he learns it too, but I'm not exactly sure. I guess we'll all find out together watching this if Kadabra ever uses a Poison Gas on me. And then you got yourself your Hypno as well, so it's like, yeah, this is a psychic gym. And I guess maybe there's a point to this. I haven't really done too much research as far as like seeing if there's like weird meanings behind like certain gyms being a certain way, because the gym leader in this one, Koga, is a ninja in the Pokemon world. And so ninjas are really good at being able to like hide themselves in the shadows and attack you when you're like least expecting it, you know, get the kill on their target and disappear. So is the fact that a lot of the trainers you go against before getting to Koga, is the fact that they're using Psychic supposed to be a misdirection in what it is that we're going against, and then suddenly it's like, huzzah, I'm using Poison and not Psychic after all? You know, is that what we're doing here, or am I really overlooking into it? By the way, the sprite model, and if you guys couldn't see it, you'll see it right after this battle, or you can just go back a couple seconds to see it. The sprite model for the jugglers is really funny, just because of the fact that their hair color is the exact same color as the floorboard of the gym itself, and it doesn't have a black overline like what we have with the Pokemon here in the overworld. So because of that, it looks like his head is just weirdly misformed, because you don't know that that's the hair until it goes into full black, and it's like, oh, that is his hair. He's not just a weird disformed human. But anyways, going back to it, yeah, I mean, I find that a little bit interesting, because if I remember correctly, so I do know Poison's good against Grass. Oh man, what else was Poison good against in Gen 1? Because Poison wasn't exactly that good when it came to Gen 1, is because it wasn't really very effective against many things. I know Grass is one of them, maybe Bug's another one. And I guess because Bug is better against Psychic, it makes you want to use Bug types, and then the Poison type counters you. Even though there's not really any good Bug type moves to you against Psychic in the first place. The only good one is Pin Missile, and I've got a Psychic that eventually uses it. I mean, not a Psychic, an Electric that eventually uses it instead. I don't know. I don't, you know, or maybe it's just because, I mean, the other way to look at it is that we've gone against a whole bunch of Coughings. We've gone against some Wheezings. I guess they wanted to keep the Ghost type separate, even though Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar are both Ghost and Poison. But I don't think we go against any of them in this gym. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I know that Drowsy and Hypno can learn Poison Gas. I don't think Kadabra does. So, a little bit interesting. as to why we're going against so many psychic types in a poison gym, but again, I'm probably overthinking it a bit much when I'm saying that it's probably a whole entire misdirection, you know, since he is a ninja. But look at that. Oh my, even this guy's model, like, his head looks really weird, especially, you know, the angle you see it at until it gets in full dark. It's like, oh, that's just his normal hair. I guess it's also for the tamers as well. There we go, an actual poison type, an Arbok. This would probably be the part where it's like, oh, wait a minute. Whoa, what gym am I actually in? You know, you got your Beedrill that you could also be using. Like, I mean, I don't understand the use of Psychic. And I'm probably, it's Sandslash. What? Like, this gym is all over the place, you know? Diversity is good when it comes to having different types of Pokemon. But it makes not very much sense, especially in the first go, where it's like, oh, we're trying to give every single gym its own identity, and then you just kind of don't. But then again, if I'm really thinking about it, if I go back to the very first gym, the rock type gym, the first trainer you go against has a Sandshrew and a Diglett, both of which are ground and have no rock in them. So I guess it's a little bit weird that I'm waiting till now to kind of quote-unquote complain about it. Again, quote-unquote, because it's not really a big deal, but it's always something that's very interesting. And I guess I'm just kind of beating a dead horse and just echoing a lot of what people have already said before when it comes to this gym. But I've always found it very interesting, and of course, you know, I'm going to go my way and overthink things, you know, and just be like, oh, it's because of this, or because of this, when in reality, it's probably just nothing. One of the other gimmicks about this gym, as you guys could see, is that there are quote-unquote invisible walls. Relatively easy to see, though. You just got to find the little pixels that are in a weird square, and that basically tells you exactly where the invisible walls are that you are unable to pass through. That's it. There's not much else to discuss. You know, it feels like the first, like, major gimmick, I guess, when it comes to one of these gyms. Well, no, that's not true, though, because the electric gym did have the bad gimmick of checking all the trash cans to find the switch. So, and then Erica's was just, you just had to know the move cut. Weird. You know, I think, if I'm not, no, then there's one more gym that also has a gimmick. And, no, okay, so I guess it's interesting, now that I think about it. Out of the 8 gyms, 4 of them have a gimmick to them when it comes to the gym. The other 4 are just kind of like, hey, you're here, let's battle. I'm not exactly sure why not every single one got their own gimmick sort of deal. I don't know. Again, very first game that came out of the Pokemon series. Probably just something they didn't think about at the time. But it's also one of those where it's like, well, if you didn't think about it at the time, then why did half of them have a little weird gimmick with them and not the other ones, you know? But it always felt like gym gimmicks are a little bit, it's basically like whenever you play a basic RPG and it has the whole entire push the rock here in order to open up a doorway to go through here sort of thing. I guess they decided to use some of the gyms as like, hey, some of these will have little gimmicks like that where you gotta do this to advance to this sort of thing. But we also get it in little caves as well, and some of the other buildings that we're also in. So, you know, make do with what you can, I guess. Anyways. But yes, after we're all done with this here, we are going to be going through the Safari Zone, and oh my goodness, the stats. Oh, the stats. There are so many we got to go through, you know, and the Safari Zone is mostly known for the fact that it is a place where you can catch a wide variety of different Pokemon. And this is actually a really good area to introduce a thing like that into, because of the fact that, you know, up until this point, you know, you're a little bit limited in what you can catch because you got to go to a certain area in order to get to it. Well, the Safari Zone is like, hey, we're just going to bring it all to you. You know, whatever Pokemon you imagine that you want to have, you can potentially get it here, minus, you know, the ancient Pokemon, the game-specific Pokemon, the exclusive Pokemon, legendaries, that kind of stuff. Anyways, went off, healed my Pokemon before the gym fight against Koga, the Ninja Poison Master Trainer. So anyways, he mostly goes out of his way to try and use like poison techniques, sleep techniques, basically using stats against us, which is a really interesting way to go about it. And in a, you know, when it comes to the competitive Pokemon scene, based on what I've seen, it's kind of like the way to win a lot of the Pokemon battles. When I play, it's just, hey, just try and one-shot them, call it good. You know, that's really about it. But in the real competitive scene, the more that you can do to mess with your opponent via sleep, paralysis, that kind of stuff, you know, goes really deep and goes quite a ways. But anyway, so we just went against a Coughing, tackle Smog, Sludge, and Smokescreen. Say hello to his Muck, which has Disable, Minimize, Poison Gas, and Sludge. His Muck, I mostly remember through Gen 4's remake of Heart Gold Soul Silver, where he would essentially use Minimize to make it almost impossible to hit him. He would then poison you, I believe with just straight Toxic, if I'm not mistaken, but it could have been another Toxic move. But then he would also use Swagger on you, which basically just upped your attack, but because he was minimized, it was hard to hit him, and having that small percentage chance of hitting yourself for a good amount of damage, it was probably one of the best movesets I've seen that would have been really good if it was for the fact that, obviously, you know, you get so overpowered, you can just one-shot them before they can get set up. The other Coughing, I believe, has the exact same, yes, Tackle, Smog, Sludge, and Smokescreen. And then finally, the Wheezing with Smog, Sludge, Self-Destruct, and Toxic. Toxic, a big move that I talked about quite a bit in Gen 2 because it was one of the moves that I taught to my Pokemon, the Pidgeot. But Toxic is a really strong type of poison. Basic poison only does a certain percent of your total health. I believe it's 1/16% of your total health, and I do like how his Wheezing actually does use the self-destruct. You know, and it worked, but it's his last Pokemon, so that's kind of it. You know, don't even end in a draw or anything like that. So, I believe it's 1/16 of your Pokemon's total health every single time at the end of the turn. But when you get hit with Toxic, the poison from that one, it ups the amount of damage by 1/16 every single... No, it doesn't up it by 1/16. Doesn't it double it entirely? Because I know it does 1/16, then it does 1/8, and then I think it'll do 3/16, and then 1/4, I believe, and just upward and onward from there. I might have some of the math on that one wrong a bit, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe it starts at 1/16, 1/16, and then it ups it by 1/16 every single turn, no matter what. So even if you're able to heal it, it doesn't go back to just taking 1/16 of your damage. It keeps on increasing it. So if it's at, you know, 1/2 of your total damage, of your total health, I mean, and then you heal it all up, the next turn it's going to do 9/16 of your total health anyways. And eventually it is going to get hit to the point where you will get one shot by the Toxic. And I'm not 100% sure. I do know that if you switch out of battle and switch back in, you are still... I think in Gen 1 it resets it to normal poison. I don't remember exactly what gym it was that made it so that even if you did switch out, it would stay the full Toxic poison and not reset to normal poison. But the other thing that I'm not 100% sure on is the ticks. Do the ticks stay exactly the same, or does it reset? So if my Pokemon is poisoned by Toxic, again, I don't remember what gen it was, but before then you could pull it, bring it back out, normal Toxic, but normal poison. But if you pull it out, bring it back when it's under Toxic, under the new conditioning where it keeps it under the Toxic style of poison. You know, if I was at, you know, 1/2 already and I bring it back in, will it reset to 1/16 or does it stay 9/16? I'm not exactly sure on that. I'm going to have to look into that, or you guys can tell me in the comments. So anyways, welcome to the Safari Zone. I did a small little showing of essentially what it is that you do when you're inside the Safari Zone, which is basically you run into a Pokemon, and basically in exchange for them basically letting you pick almost any single Pokemon to have as a part of your team, in exchange for that you have to go through a whole entire weird ordeal in order to catch these Pokemon. You see, it's not basically just like, oh, your Pokemon are going to go against the other one and you're going to try and get it down to a certain amount of health and then use the Pokeball in order to catch it. For starters, you have your own basic Safari Balls, which is good because then you don't have to use your own Pokeballs, but you cannot damage the Pokemon you're going against. Instead, you have bait and I believe a rock or a stick or something to throw, okay? And what it is, whenever you use the throw, what it's supposed to do is that it makes it a greater chance that the Pokemon's going to flee from battle, but it's going to be easier to catch it with a Safari Ball. And if you use bait, you get a higher chance of the Pokemon not running away from you, but it makes it harder for them to get caught. Okay, so you gotta try and balance that out, along with just the fact that, you know, they start off with a certain percentage chance already of wanting to flee in the first place, you know, which is already really annoying, especially if you just throw, if they throw like 3 Safari balls and don't catch it, get really close and then suddenly decides to up and leave. That's really, you know, upsetting, especially because a lot of these Pokemon have a really small percentage chance of running into. Now, I know I said we were going to start going to the stats, but I'm going to wait till the next part because this is not the only time that we're coming in the Safari Zone. As you guys probably saw, there was a number of items that I completely skipped out, and that's because in the Safari Zone, you got to go to a certain area in order to learn, I believe it's Strength or Surf, but I believe it's Strength is what you're trying to learn. Either you can find Surf and get Strength. No, you go to this guy to get Surf first, and you use that to do something else in order to get Strength. But anyway, so you find this guy, first one to get to the secret house. I basically, when doing this, wanted to just walk all the way through, just so that if anybody does get stuck in Safari Zone, because the first time going through, it can get really easy to get stuck in the Safari Zone, because there's 4 different sections to this place, which is why the stats are so big in the first place. But because there's 4 sections, and a lot of it kind of blends together too easily, it's really easy to get lost in where you're supposed to be, and you got to do a certain walk pathway in order to get to this guy to get Surf in the first place. And I know that some people out there probably get too easily lost, so I wanted to kind of ignore almost every single item except for a few, just to go straight to the guy that gives you Surf, which you can use to get right across, and you're good to go. But it's also a faster means to get, I believe it's here, no it's not, somewhere around here you get an item called the Gold Teeth. Really interesting item, not exactly anything that we've gotten up to that point. I might have already gotten the Gold Teeth and didn't even realize it, but anyways, very interesting item, you know, not exactly one that you utilize with your Pokemon at all. It's one that you're supposed to give to a person, because the warden of this area, I do not know why the Safari Zone needs a warden. It sounds like a prison, but I guess in some cases it is a prison for these Pokemon. Who knows exactly how it is, but that's going a little bit too deep, and I don't want to be going that deep when it comes to a Pokemon game. Anyways, you give him the Gold Teeth, and he's able to communicate once again, because I guess, you know, he just couldn't communicate whatsoever without his Gold Teeth, even though, you know, I know people that have false teeth, and without it, you can still kind of talk very normally, sir. Some letters are hard to get in there, but it's not like it's all mumble. You know, you can actually understand what they're saying, what they're trying to get across in the first place anyways. So a little bit interesting, but you give him that, and then he'll give you the move Strength, which is also going to be needed for later on down the line, because there's a lot of stuff that we got to move, alright? But, like I said, how much? We got about 3 minutes. Let's actually start going to the stats anyways. So anyways, once you first enter the area, you're in what's called the Central Hub area, alright? And so, when in this area, in the red and blue version, you have a 5% chance of running to a Parasect, 15% chance for a Venonat, 20% chance for an Execute, 15% chance for a Rhyhorn, and a 1% chance for a Chansey. One of the tougher ones to get. Blue version only, 25% chance for a female Nidoran, 10% chance for a male Nidoran. No, Nidorina. Apologies. 5% chance for a male Nidorino. My goodness, okay. And a 4% chance for a Pinsir. In the red version, it's a 5% chance for a Nidorina, a 25% chance for a Nidoran male. I'm like all over the place. 10% chance for a Nidorino, and a 4% chance for a Scyther. And in the yellow version, it's a 15% chance for a Nidoran female version, 25% chance for a Nidoran male version, 10% chance for a Nidorino, 5% chance for a Paras, 15% chance for a Parasect, 15% chance for an Execute, 10% chance for a Rhyhorn, 1% chance for a Chansey as well, and a 4% chance for a Tangela. And I'm not exactly sure if I said it right or not. In the red and blue version, I might have actually said it was a 5% chance for a Paras. It's a 5% chance for a Parasect, 50% chance for a Parasect in the yellow version. That's only in the basic hub area, okay? In the Central Area East, which is the first area you go to when you go to the right of yourself, and oh boy, let's get into it, alright? So, red and blue version, 50% chance for a Paras, 5% chance for a Parasect, 15% chance for a Doduo, 20% chance for an Execute, 4% chance for a Kangaskhan. And then in the red version, 5% chance for a Nidoran female, 25% chance for a Nidoran male, 10% chance for a Nidorino, and a 1% chance for a Scyther. In the blue version, 25% chance for a Nidoran and... Wait a minute, that's... Oh my goodness. I'm getting all over the place here. Anyways, Nidoran, Good lord. Female, 25% chance of the blue version, 10% chance for a Nidorina in the blue version, 5% chance for a Nidoran. Nidoran. I keep wanting to say Nidoran instead of Nidoran, and it could be right one way or another. I don't know. Butchering it anyways. Who exactly cares? 5% chance for that in the blue version, 1% chance for Pinsir. And in the yellow version, Nidoran female, 25% chance. Nidorina, 10% chance. No, that's wrong. Yeah, no, 10% chance in the yellow version, that's right. 50% chance for a Nidoran male version. 20% chance for an Execute. 10% chance for a Cubone. 5% chance for a Marowak. 4% chance for a Chansey. 1% chance for a Scyther. 10% chance for a Tauros. The big bull, and boy was it a bull in Gen 1 and competitive based on what I read. Apparently it was like one of the best in Gen 1, mostly because of the fact on how fast he was and the fact that Hyper Beam didn't need a reset when it came to, when it KO'd the opposing Pokemon. Man, what a beast he was there. And that's only the grass areas for, you know, the hub area and the east area first on the right. We've got a lot more to go through there, and I thought in the next part we came back to the Safari Zone, and I guess I was wrong on that one, so I'm going to finish off the stats for it right away when we get to the next part. Don't hold your breath. We'll catch you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your evening.